on, guys? So today we're going to be solving questions number 18 and 19. This is from the SAT number 17. And let's jump in. So 18 says, based on the passage, which action would most likely reduce political extremism among the citizenry? So to solve this, the best way to do this, because this is a paired question, which means we have the question from 18 and then we need to choose the text from 19. The best way to solve these is to start by reading the question from 18 and then going down to the answer choices for 19 and trying to choose a text or choose a line that we think could answer this question here. And basically this question here says, one more time, we're looking for an action that could reduce political extremism among the citizenry. So what we need to do is we need to look through the answer choices for 19, and we're basically looking for any one of these texts that could tell us something about reducing political extremism. So if we find any of those texts, we'll keep it, and then we'll use that to come back and answer question 18. So 65 through 68 says, they continue to think, and here we're talking about those who just listed their reasons for their positions. They continue to think that they understood the policies in their complexity, and notably, they remained extreme in their passion for their positions. So this basically tells us that in the second experiment that Fernbach did, basically he just had people list the reasons why they believed in a position. And what he found is that they continued, it didn't really affect the strength of their conviction, right? They continued to think that they understood the policies and they remained extreme in their passion for their positions. So it had no effect, and basically they continued to believe what they thought. What that doesn't do is tell us anything that might suggest a likely possibility of reducing political extremism. So I don't think this is a good answer choice. We should get rid of that. Then we have 69 through 72, which says polarization tends to reinforce itself. So people are unaware of their own ignorance and they seek out information that bolsters their views, often without knowing it. So basically polarization, or having an extreme view one way or another, makes people, it reinforces itself. People don't know that they're being ignorant. People are looking for information that's going to support their views, and they don't even know that that's true. So what this doesn't do is tell us a possibility that the passage says that could help reduce political extremism. All it does is sort of explain how polarization works and the fact that it sort of perpetuates itself. So I think we get rid of B. Then we have 72 through 74, which says they also process new information in biased ways. They is referring to people who are unaware of their own ignorance, right? Or people who are subject to this process of polarization. They also process new information in biased ways, and they hang out with people like themselves. So again, this is sort of explaining how polarization reinforces itself, how it increases itself, and doesn't suggest any way to reduce it, to reduce political extremism. So for that reason, I think we can get rid of C. Then we have D, which is 76 through 78, which says, but forcing the candidates to provide concrete and elaborate plans might be a start. It gives citizens a starting place. So I like this one so far. It starts with the word but, so we're getting a little bit of contrast. If we step back a little bit outside this text, we see that it starts by saying all of these psychological forces increase political extremism, and there's not a simple measure that will change that. So basically, we just went through all of these different psychological forces which make political extremism and make polarization more likely. And there's no simple way to change that, or no simple way to address or solve the problem. But there seems to be one little way, which is to force candidates to provide concrete and elaborate plans. And this might be a start. It gives citizens a starting place. So what the passage suggests is that one way that we can sort of limit political extremism is to have political candidates sort of go over their own plans in concrete and elaborate detail, and that will help to reduce that political extremism. So we look for an answer choice that will match that. So A says that forming organized groups of people who share the most deeply held convictions could reduce political extremism. And one, this is not anything that the text mentions. So the text doesn't talk at all about how forming, if you form an organized group of people who share an opinion or a conviction, then you're likely to reduce political extremism. And this really just doesn't make sense, because the passage actually suggests the opposite. It suggests that when you hang out with people like yourself, that increases polarization or political extremism. It doesn't reduce it. So this would basically be the idea of, like, if you're a Republican and the way to become less of a Republican or less extreme is just to hang out with big groups of Republicans. It doesn't make sense. B says that requiring politicians explain their proposed policies in detail before an election is held, that will reduce political extremism. And that 100% matches the text that we chose here for answer choice, or for question 19, answer choice D, which says forcing candidates to provide concrete and elaborate plans. So that 100% explains this, requiring that politicians explain their proposed policies. Good answer choice, so let's keep it. C says promoting awareness of charities that provide opportunities to donate money to a worthy but underfunded cause. So here, there's really no mention in any of the texts that we look at about charities and about how donating to them is going to have any sort of positive effect on reducing political extremism. We can get rid of C. D says that hosting events that encourage people who hold opposing viewpoints to interact with one another would reduce political extremism. And this kind of makes sense, right? We could say that this makes sense, that if you have big events that force people from different sides to interact with one another, that you might reduce political extremism. The problem is that none of the texts that we looked at, and really not the passage at all, talks about the efficacy, right, or the effectiveness of these events in reducing political extremism. So we should get rid of D as well. And that's going to leave us with answer choice B, which is our correct answer for question 18, and answer choice D, which is our correct answer for question 19.